Listen, the sky never asks who you are. It doesn't check credentials, tally your pain, or wait for your feelings to align. It is open, silent, ruthless, territory for whoever leaves the ground. You've stood on the runway long enough, studying winds that won't introduce themselves until you're airborne. Harsh truth. Elevation is not given. It is taken. No permission. No pass. No pause. Before the city wakes, a white head catches first light on the ridgeline and reads what others can't see. The invisible staircases of heat and pressure. There's no speech, no ceremony, only angles and timing. That moment isn't luck, it's preparation meeting a window. That's how altitude really works. You meet the morning as if it owes you nothing, and you take everything your discipline can carry. You say you're waiting for a sign. The sign has been the same since your first alarm. Move. Here's the mirror you've been dodging. You want momentum, but you keep applying for approval from people who live at sea level. You want clarity, but you audition new plans to avoid one hard action. You want the right mood, the right weather, the right nod from someone who doesn't even do what you want to do. Look at the evidence. Not your hopes, your habits. How many hours did you circle the tower, scrolling for courage while the runway stayed empty? How many times did you ask the day to be gentle instead of asking yourself to be strong? Take a cold audit. 7 days, no excuses. Wake times, deep work blocks, food, training, output. Your identity is printed there, not in your opinions. The gap between who you claim to be and what you actually do is drag. It rips lift off your wings. Entitlement says your turn is coming. Discipline says turns are taken. The eagle doesn't flap for approval. It soars in silence. That's a standard, not a slogan. Standards make results inevitable. Excuses make them impossible. Reframe this now. Altitude is a decision long before it becomes a view. Action creates the wind you keep waiting for. You don't need to feel ready to be ready. Move first, understand later. Execution births clarity. Clarity multiplies execution. Discipline isn't punishment. It's self-respect in uniform. Keep one small promise today, and your confidence shifts by degrees. Keep it tomorrow, and the horizon tilts. Keep it for a month, and the old you won't recognize the new altitude. When doubt starts its little speech, cut the mic with motion. Send the email. Make the call. Write the page. Put the weight in the air. Momentum is a moral choice. Move now. Move now. Move now. Talons lock before doubt speaks. That's the rule of the high places. The eagle doesn't fight storms, it rides them. So stop shopping for gentle weather and lean into headwind until headwind becomes lift. Resistance is not a reason to land, it's a reason to climb. Remove permission from your system. Stage your close the night before. Place your phone in exile during the hours that matter. Guard your first 90 minutes like airspace. Convert goals into routes and routes into rituals. Treat your calendar like an air corridor. Protected, precise, patrolled. One disciplined loop, then another. Iterations, not inspirations. Invisible staircase climbed daily. By the time anyone notices, you'll be too high to hear their opinions. Still waiting for a green light. You are the green light. Life doesn't nod. It yields to those who do the work while others practice speeches. Read the currents, level your gaze, and commit. The moment you step, space makes way. The moment you commit, tailwinds appear that stayed hidden while you stalled. No permission, no pass, no pause. You don't need the world to validate your altitude. You need to act in a way that makes validation irrelevant. So ask it without flinching. Why not you? Why not now? The air is still there, the runway is still open, and the storm on the horizon is not an obstacle. It's a staircase. Good. Take one breath. Find your line. Because in the very next beat, we do what grounded people fear most. We ride the weather that scares them into altitude they'll never see. You wanted altitude? Good. Up here, the glass is colder and it does not bend for feelings. This is the mirror at altitude. Thin air. Hard truth. You say you want it. Show the proof. We hold your weak against the wind and watch what fogs the surface. Talk warms the glass. Execution cuts through it. No speeches, no spin, numbers, not narratives. Start with the ledger you hide from yourself. Wake time versus alarm time. Deep work versus deep scroll. Reps written versus reps lifted. Calls promised versus calls dodged. Calories planned versus calories forgotten. You know the pattern. A heroic plan on Sunday. A quiet surrender by Wednesday. A polite explanation by Friday. That explanation is the narcotic. Smooth, soothing, fatal. You aren't under-resourced. You're over-explained. Busy is a costume. Later is a sedative. Hold still. Let the air get honest. Numbers, not narratives. Here's the reframe that stings first and saves later. The audit is not punishment. It's oxygen. Data is not judgment. It's direction. When you trade stories for statistics, guilt loses its grip and progress gains a handle. You stop negotiating with the day and start steering it. Identity is not a vibe, it's a visible pattern. You are what your calendar and your counters can testify to. Nothing more, nothing less. The high places don't care about your intentions. They register your angles. Audit. Admit. Adjust. Look down the ridge with me. See that white flash in the morning? It doesn't announce itself. It reads thermals, corrects by degrees, and lets silence carry what shouting never could. Eagles don't flap for approval. They soar in silence. Up here, applause doesn't travel. Results echo off the cliffs. If you need noise to believe, you're still flying low. Altitude makes you quiet because it makes you precise. One correction, then another. Audit. Admit. Adjust. Run the surgical drill. Step 1. Pull 7 days of receipts. Time, training, food, output. No rounding. No about. Step 2. Compare against the commitments you wrote, not the feelings you felt. Step 3. Isolate the leaks, where you bled minutes, energy, or focus. Name them like enemies. Step 4. Install a constraint for each leak. A timer, a threshold, a lock, a rule. Step 5. Retest in 48 hours and measure again. No victory speeches, just cleaner numbers. Numbers, not narratives. Your resistance will try to lawyer the facts. It was a long day. I deserved a break. That's narrative. The mirror doesn't care. Thin air is mercy disguised as pressure. It strips what can't hold. Think of a mountain lake at dawn. Breath shows as fog, then vanishes if you stand still. Excuses do the same. Let them appear, then let them die in stillness. What remains is evidence, and evidence is leadership. You can't lead yourself with lies. Audit, admit, adjust. Here's the identity pivot you've avoided. Trust isn't a feeling you hunt. It's a tally you earn. Every time you do what you said you'd do, especially when no one is watching, you deposit proof into the account of self-respect. Withdrawals are just as real. Missed promises leave you overdrafted in confidence. The eagle doesn't posture before the drop. It sees, angles, commits. Talons walk before doubt speaks. That's not bravado. That's code. Write your code in actions small enough to complete and strict enough to count. Remember yesterday's vow at the cliff. No permission, no pass, no pause. This is its measurement. Permission is irrelevant if the proof is present. Pause is impossible when the metric lights are red. Pass is earned when the data goes green. So set your dashboard where you live. A whiteboard by the door, a notebook on the desk, a habit tracker on the fridge. 3 needles to watch. Focus hours, meaningful outputs, promises kept. Move the needles daily. Numbers, not narratives. If the mirror cuts today, good. Pain is precision. The part of you that winces is the part that cares. Don't medicate the sting. Translate it into the next correction. Remove 1 leak. Add 1 ritual. Shorten 1 decision loop. That's Kaizen in the high air. Small better, always better. The eagle rises through resistance because it treats turbulence as information. Treat your resistance the same. Audit, admit, adjust. Now breathe. Look again. The glass is clearing. A truer outline of you is forming. Not the version that performs ambition, the version that proves it. When the valley asks who you are, you'll have an answer that doesn't need words. And when we descend from the mirror, we move straight into the engine that powers those numbers. Discipline as self-respect. If you're ready to change the ledger, meet me there. The mirror gave you truth. Now the forge gives you a spine. This is where data turns into code you live by. Discipline is self-respect, not punishment. Identity. When the target appears, talons lock before doubt speaks. Decision precedes motivation, always. From here you end the negotiations and install a standard. Decide, do, repeat. State the problem plainly. You keep breaking small promises and calling it flexibility. You wait for a feeling that only arrives after you move. You catch up by staying up late and pay for it with tomorrow's strength. You set alarms like prayers and hit snooze like confessions. You trust hype more than habits. You envy disciplined people while outsourcing your own authority. That split is why you suffer. Your goals are ambitious. Your rules are optional. Flip it. Motivation is the smoke. Decision is the fire. You don't need a better mood. You need a better policy. Discipline isn't a cage. It's a key ring. It unlocks the room where confidence lives, because confidence is memory of promises kept. You want self-worth. Earn self-trust. Act first, and the feeling you keep waiting for will follow the action like a shadow. Identity follows evidence. Install ritual, not drama. Choose a wake time that scares your softness and make it law. Block 2 deep work sessions before the world wakes up to interrupt you. Build the first 90 minutes like a runway. No social, no inbox, no negotiation. Launch. Train on schedule. Strength 3 days, conditioning 2. Walk daily. Create before you consume. 2 pages before sunrise, 10 outreach messages before noon, 1 shipped deliverable before entertainment. Nightly shutdown. Review, set tomorrow's first task, stage your tools, lights out on time. Understand the hunt. Eagles hunt on schedule, not on mood. From the high nest, the world is noise until the pattern appears. Then there is only angle, line, drop. No speech about readiness. No selfie from the ridge. Talons lock before doubt speaks, because doubt is late to high places. Hold that image. Stillness. Scan. Decision. Dive. The eagle doesn't flap for approval. It draws a clean line of flight and lets silence do the talking. Your resistance will beg you to soften the standard. It will say, be realistic, which is code for be average. Counter with constraints. Pre-commit your mornings by removing choices. One alarm, far from reach. One outfit, staged. One first task, defined the night before. Create a minimum viable day. What you complete even in the worst weather. 60 minutes of deep work, movement, protein, water, page count. On bad days, hit the minimum and protect the streak. On good days, build depth. Either way, on schedule, not on mood. Write your oath of hours. Keep it short and ruthless. What I say, I see. What I schedule, I ship. Measure 3 needles. Focus hours, outputs shipped, promises kept. When they dip, you don't spiral, you adjust. You're not failing, you're calibrating. The goal is not spectacle, it's reliability. Your future family, your future craft, your future peace require someone dependable to show up today. Be that person. Decide. Do. Repeat. Here's the identity pivot. Discipline is how you treat yourself when no one's watching. It's private respect made public by results. Every kept promise sharpens your edge. Every skipped one dulls it. Keep 5 in a row and you'll hear a new silence inside, the absence of self-doubt. That silence is altitude, and altitude has its own weather. The eagle rises through resistance, because resistance gives lift to a steady wing. Hold your line. Take what the headwind offers. Test it tomorrow morning. When the alarm hits, do not negotiate. Feet to floor, water to mouth, notebook open. Work begun before your feelings vote. Hit the reps. Ship the first block. Eat like an athlete, not an algorithm. Stack a second block by midday. Guard the evening like a border. Sleep like it's a meeting with your future. You are installing a rhythm the world cannot interrupt because it doesn't depend on the world. Final charge. You don't deserve discipline. You deploy it. You don't find time. You cut it from the unnecessary. You don't chase respect. You behave respectfully toward your own goals until respect follows. From the ridge, Whitehead catching last light, the line is clean. Schedule, hunt, return. Tomorrow brings weather. Good. We're ready to use it. The next chapter is simple and savage. Ride the storm until it carries you higher than comfort ever could. Pressure arrives. Perfect. That's the door that only opens for people who don't flinch. You installed discipline. Now the weather tests it. Deadlines stack, plans slip, someone says no, and the room tilts. Good. Up here, wind is finally strong enough to lift you. Panic is cheap. Posture is rare. The storm isn't your enemy. It's your engine waiting for instructions. Pressure is fuel. Give it a job. Here's the mirror you avoid when things tighten. Under pressure, you reach for escape hatches, scrolls, snacks, side quests. You delay decisions by decorating them with research. You call 3 people who will agree that it's hard, instead of calling one person who will hold you to standard. You flail for sympathy like a bird beating the air instead of shaping it. Every frantic flap screams one message. I forgot who I am when it counts. That amnesia has a cost. Lost hours, soft voice, small results. Reframe it now. Pressure is not a verdict. It's a vector. It's direction and energy arriving at the same time. Turn angle into altitude by choosing the line. Turn friction into focus by narrowing the target. Turn why me into watch me. You don't need calm conditions to do great work. You need a method that translates chaos into climb. Up here we follow a simple law. Lean, lift, learn, lean. Move into the gust, not away. Increase contact with the hard thing. One call, one page, one set, one honest conversation. Your first action is the wedge that opens the day. Aim your chest into the wind and hold. No drama, just direction. Lift. Convert force into height. Break the problem into exact steps and sequence them. 20 minutes of deep work, 5-minute recovery, repeat. Cut the task to the bone. What must be finished to move the mission forward? Do that first and only that. When the noise tries to pull you sideways, return to the line. Altitude is gained by staying on angle longer than comfort advises. Learn. Storms teach what calm days hide. What failed? Where did you leak time? Which assumption cracked? Record it without ego and install the fix before the next gust. Debrief like a pilot, not a poet. The lesson is worth the bruise, only if it changes the next flight. Hold the picture at the cliff edge. A white head leveled into dark clouds. Wings set. No frantic flapping. Thunder talks. The air buckles. The form stays clean. The eagle doesn't fight storms. It rides them. It climbs by meeting the wind with surface, not speeches. That's your standard under pressure. Less noise, more surface. More contact, cleaner line. Be the one that flies when others fall. Deadlines. Fast start beats perfect start. Rejection. It's not identity, it's data. Extract the reason, adjust the angle, reapproach. Setbacks. That's terrain. Chart it, then use it for cover and leverage. You're not fragile. You're a system that updates in real time. Pressure is fuel. Burn it clean. Tactics, not theatrics. When a wave hits, reduce the number of decisions you can make to 3. Advance, adjust, or abort with a scheduled re-attack. Advance if you can finish a meaningful slice in 20 minutes. Adjust if a constraint blocks you. Change scope, change sequence, but stay on mission. Abort only to protect the aircraft, sleep, health, integrity, and put the new attempt on the calendar before you stand up. That's not quitting. That's preserving the pilot. Bring back the code you wrote yesterday. Decide, do, repeat. Now add the storm module. Decide faster. First principles over feelings. Do cleaner. Tight reps, measured breath. When doubt starts its monologue, cut the mic by moving. Your action is the weather pattern now. Identity under pressure is simple. Are you the person who needs gentle skies to keep promises? Or the one who keeps promises so often that skies become irrelevant? One path builds a reputation for courage. The other builds a private museum of almost. The eagle rises through resistance, because resistance proves the wing. Let the wind prove yours. Lean, lift, learn, feel the shift. Heart rate steadying, vision narrowing, hands ready. This is what real power feels like. Not noise, but control. You don't need the storm to stop. You need the storm to continue until your form is automatic. Keep angling, hold posture, wait with patience, and let the headwind buy your altitude. When the clouds break, you won't be the same size. Now, bank with me and look ahead. The sky clears and what remains is your path, not your panic. Next, we carve it in micro degrees. Quiet corrections that stack into inevitability. Small better, always better. The flight becomes a method. The method becomes a life. Lean, lift, learn. Then we write the map you'll follow forever. The Kaizen flight path. The storm handed you something priceless. Information. Not a trophy, coordinates. You felt where the wing shook, where your breath broke, where the schedule bent. Good. Now we convert turbulence into technique. This is the quiet art, the Kaizen flight path, where mastery is earned in increments so small they look like nothing until they become everything. No drama, only data. One precise correction today, another tomorrow, until the horizon tilts in your favor. Small better, always better, forever better. Admit the pattern you've lived too long. You chase extremes. You binge on ambition, then starve your consistency. You promise a revolution at sunrise and negotiate a retreat by lunch. You worship big moves because they sedate your insecurity in public, and then you relapse in private. That is why results keep slipping through your hands. You keep trying to leap a mountain you could have walked with a metronome. Up here, spectacle stalls. Process climbs. No drama, only data. Reframe the entire game. Greatness is a math problem, not a mood. The difference between almost and inevitable is a handful of micro angles held daily. 1 degree now equals miles later. The white crown on the ridge doesn't thrash to gain height. It trims, it reads, it adjusts, gliding the invisible staircase the storm revealed. The eagle doesn't flap for approval. It calibrates for advantage. Your craft deserves the same humility. Low noise, tight loops, clean proof. Run the Kaizen flight path. 3 verbs, always in this order. Trim. Reduce ambition to actions that fit inside today. Add 10 minutes to your focus block. Add 1% to your training volume. Add 1 page to your output. Remove 1 leak from your routine. Make the smallest change that guarantees completion. Minimums you repeat beat maximums you abandon. Set a daily win you can't wiggle out of and make it law. Small better, always better, forever better. Track. What you don't measure, you mythologize. Score 3 needles. Focus hours executed. Outputs shipped. Promises kept. Record them where you live. Whiteboard, notebook, dashboard. When they dip, you don't spiral, you correct. When they rise, you don't celebrate away your edge, you stack another inch. Remember the rule from the storm. Evaluate on finish lines, not feelings. No drama, only data. Tend. Tending is the samurai discipline. Polish the blade daily, whether you swing it or not. Stage tomorrow tonight. Tools laid out. First task chosen. Distractions pre-killed. Sleep protected like a national secret. 10 minutes of review to extract 1 lesson and 1 adjustment. Close the book. That's how you become inevitable. Not by fury, by maintenance. Identity follows evidence. You don't become disciplined because you say so. You become disciplined when your counters testify. That's why this path feels quiet, because confidence grows like rings inside a tree, not fireworks in the sky. The valley won't applaud the day you added 10 minutes, but the mountain will remember the 1,000 times you did. The eagle rises through resistance because it respects the mathematics of lift. Surface, angle, time. Respect your math. Examples. Clean and specific. Business. 3 outreach messages before noon. Every weekday, no exceptions. Fitness. 2 foundational lifts. 1 walk. Leave the gym with 1 rep in reserve so you show up tomorrow. Learning. 30 minutes of focused study with handwritten recall. Not highlight theater. Relationships. 1 deliberate act of presence daily. Eyes up. Phone away. 5 unbroken minutes. These are micro edges. They look small. They make you dangerous. You'll be tempted to sprint. Don't. Sprinting is for clips. For a career. You'll want to overhaul your entire life on Monday. Don't. Overhauls are exciting and unsustainable. Kaizen is boring and undefeated. When your mind begs for novelty, feed it numbers. Did the needles move? Then you're on path. If not, adjust 1 variable. Earlier start, shorter block, different sequence, and test again. The lab coat beats the loudspeaker. No drama, only data. Hold the image. Storm clouds thinning, a white head riding the last of the updrafts, wings making micro-corrections that nobody notices except the altitude meter. That's your practice now. Publicly invisible, privately undeniable. You aren't chasing a mood. You're installing a method. The payoff is subtle at first. Cleaner mornings, steadier breath, fewer debated decisions. Then the compounding declares itself. Projects finish, strength stacks, trust in your own word returns. This is not luck. This is maintenance paying interest. When the day goes badly, and some days will, honor the floor, not the ceiling. Hit your minimum viable day and protect the streak. Perfect is a trap. Repeatable is a weapon. Small better today guards big better tomorrow. Small better, always better, forever better. Now we protect the climb. Compounding dies in chaos. Your next task is environment. Higher nest, lower noise. Fewer voices, clearer vision. Build airspace where your rituals can breathe without interruption. We'll strip the chatter, raise the perch, and guard your corridors like a hawk over a canyon. The method is set. The meters are live. The only thing left is to keep the sky clean. The climb is working. Now you have to protect it. Compounding dies in chaos. You don't need more talent. You need quieter air. High nest, low noise. Elevation demands distance, and distance is a decision. Eagles build high, far from the flock's chatter. They don't audition their focus to a crowd. They choose altitude that conversations can't reach. Make the same choice. Build where distraction can't find you. Protect, prune, perform. Be honest about your current nest. Your desk is a negotiation table for every impulse. 10 tabs open. 9 are excuses. Notifications yank your attention by the collar every 6 minutes. You call it staying informed, but it's a drip of other people's agendas into your bloodstream. Group chats, breaking news, that one friend who texts chaos at 7 a.m. They live in your airspace rent-free. Your focus has an open-door policy. Your goals pay the rent. Look at the evidence. Focus hours thin. Output stall. Promises slip. Not because you're weak, because your environment is stronger than your intention. Reframe it. Environment isn't a backdrop. It's a lever. Willpower is for emergencies. Design is for every day. The person who wins isn't more motivated. They're less interrupted. The storm taught you to hold posture. Kaizen taught you to trim a degree. Now you learn the quiet law of altitude. Fewer voices, sharper vision. Fewer tabs, cleaner targets. High nest, low noise. Say it until your space obeys it. Build your airspace protocol. Clear, ruthless, repeatable. 1. Elevate the hours. Your first 90 minutes are sacred air. No texts, no inbox, no scroll. Phone in exile, another room, another floor. Launch your deepest block before the world even knows you're awake. The eagle doesn't flap for approval. It soars in silence. Earn silence. 2. Prune the inputs. Mute 90% of notifications. Unfollow distraction dealers. News windows, 15 minutes after noon. Never before launch. If it isn't mission critical, it's noise. One screen, one tab, one target. Multitasking is multi-bleeding. 3. Guard the perimeter. Post office hours for your availability. Yes, for friends, family, clients, colleagues. Clarity is kindness. Script the boundary. I'm in deep work, 6 to 8, and 1 to 2. If it's urgent, leave one message. I'll respond at windows. Your life changes the moment you stop rewarding interruptions. 4. Stage the nest. Clear the surface. Tools staged the night before. Pen, plan. First task printed or pinned. Chair, lighting, temperature set for work, not lounging. Friction removed from what matters. Friction added to what doesn't. Want less Netflix? Uninstall. Want more reading? Book on the desk, open to the page. 5. Create corridor rules. Door closed, no conversation. Headphones on, runway active. A timer in plain sight, momentum visible. Every symbol becomes a shield. You're not being rude. You're being real about what it takes to rise. 6. Protect recovery. High nests aren't only for the hunt. They're for sleep. Phone sleeps outside the room. Screens off an hour before lights. You aren't serious about daytime power if you treat nighttime like a joke. Tomorrow's altitude is purchased tonight. Anchor this with identity. You are not a consumer of interruptions. You are the custodian of airspace. The border you draw around your attention is a biography line. Every time you decline noise, you vote for the hunter over the bystander. From the ridge, white crown catching first light, there's no applause, no commentary, just a wide valley and a clean objective. Be the one that flies when others fall. Expect pushback. Noise hates eviction. People accustomed to instant you will call you cold. Apps you fed for years will scream like hungry birds. Good. Boundaries bleed a little before they bless. Hold the line for 2 weeks and watch your nervous system settle. Your breath deepens. Your work thickens. Your conversations become deliberate instead of constant. You regain the power to choose. Protect, prune, perform. Tie it back to proof. Those 3 needles, focus hours, outputs shipped, promises kept, should now move without theatrics. If they don't, the nest isn't high enough or the noise isn't low enough. Adjust. Raise the perch. Earlier start, quieter room, stronger door. Lower the noise. Fewer apps, stricter windows, tighter circles. High nest, low noise. This is not about loneliness. It's about leverage. Solitude is the forge where discipline becomes identity. Keep the image. An austere perch, valley murmuring far below, storm lines in the distance. The eagle tilts a wing, scanning. No frantic movement, no wasted sound. That is clarity. That is control. When the signal appears, there is only angle and drop. Your environment must do that for you. Filter out everything until the mission stands alone. Now feel the silence grow heavy with potential. You've built the altitude, trimmed the angles, and raised the nest. There's one more habit to hardwire. Hesitation is drag. Doubt is crosswind. With the air clean and the target clear, you can't hover at the edge. Next, we cut the crosswind and train pure decisiveness. No hovering, just the drop. Protect, prune, perform. Then, decide, dive, deliver. The air is finally quiet. Good. Now you find out who you are when the window opens. Most people waste altitude, clean nest, clear target, and then hover until the chance rots. Hesitation is drag. Doubt is crosswind. You built the ridge for a reason. When the angle appears, you don't ask, you act. Decide, dive, deliver. Here's the truth you keep dressing in polite language. You disguise fear as research. You call 5 friends to stall a 5-minute decision. You rewrite a plan you never executed. You sleep on it until the moment is dead. You don't lack information. You lack commitment. Crosswind doesn't slam you. You feed it by circling. Every extra lap, is confidence leaking out of your veins. Look back at the last week. How many opportunities died in the buffer zone between ready and go? Reframe it now. Speed is a form of respect. Respect for your time, your word, your mission. Execution is not reckless, it's responsible. Waiting for perfect alignment is how amateurs signal they're scared to be measured. Professionals move at 70% clarity and collect the other 30 on the way down. Action earns the rest of the data. Hesitation is drag. You cut drag by choosing. Make your decisions before your emotions arrive. Set the criteria in calm air. What must be true for a yes? What must never be violated? And the single metric that defines success. When the window opens, you consult that compass, not your mood. Then you commit fast. Small choices get 5 minutes. Medium choices get the end of day. Big choices get 7 days. Or the answer is no by default. Once you decide, take the first irreversible micro step inside the next 5 minutes. Send the email, book the call, place the deposit, publish the draft. You're not married to mistakes. You're married to truth. That's why you design clean exits before you jump. Name the kill switch. If the metric isn't moving by a set date, you pivot or stop. Exiting isn't failure. Hovering is. The eagle doesn't halt mid-drop to journal about angles. It either commits or climbs and reapproaches with new data. Talons don't tremble. They lock. Hold the picture at the cliff. A white head cutting sidewind, wings tipping a degree and holding the line. No frantic flapping, no apology. Just a precise correction and a clean descent. The eagle rises through resistance because it treats crosswind as information, not intimidation. That's your job. When fear spikes, narrow the target to one call, one rep, one page. Precision quiets panic. The valley debates. You move. Crowdsourcing courage is how you stay small. The valley loves discussions that never end. Altitude loves decisions that do. Seek counsel before the window opens, not during the dive. Mid-drop opinions are noise. The eagle doesn't flap for approval. It moves once. Your circle exists to refine your criteria and your ethics. After that, silence. You are executing, not auditioning. Install 2 more truths. First, every decision needs skin in the game, or it will melt in your hand. Put time or money where your mouth is, so backing out costs you. Second, you don't reopen a choice for 24 hours unless new data arrives. Weekly, you review outcomes, carve out one lesson, and lock the upgrade. Learning replaces looping. Discipline becomes decisiveness because the loop tightens. Pick, move, measure, adjust. Decide, dive, deliver. Identity lives here. Decisive isn't something you are. It's something you practice at the edge of responsibility. Your future family, your craft, your own peace needs someone who moves the moment the window appears. Trust is timing. You earn yours by moving on time. Each clean decision deposits respect into the account you spend when the weather turns again. And yes, you will miss. Good. Abort clean. Climb, reapproach. Execution is a science of attempts, not a theater of perfection. The only unforgivable sin at altitude is hovering. Hesitation is drag. Cut it. When the line is there, take it. When it isn't, create it. When it breaks, reset and reattack. Keep the sky simple. Window, angle, drop. Breathe. The crosswind didn't vanish. It started obeying. That's the point. Decisiveness isn't the absence of fear. It's fear arriving too late to matter. From this posture, you don't just survive the sky, you claim it. Which brings the final turn into view. A horizon the valley never touched, and the question that ends every excuse. Why not you? Hold the line. One more dive. One more delivery. Then claim what was never assigned, only available. The horizon is quiet and unassigned, and that silence is an invitation. You built the ridge, permission killed, mirrors faced, discipline installed, storms ridden, angles trimmed, nest raised, crosswind cut. All of that was preparation for this single uncluttered moment when distance opens and the line appears. Most people pause here and let the world reclaim them. You won't. The wind. Be honest. You've lived at arm's length from your own potential because proximity makes you accountable. You liked wanting it more than wearing it. You rehearsed speeches about someday because they cost less than the life you owe yourself right now. You disguised delay as humility and called hiding being realistic. That costume doesn't fit anymore. Identity is chosen. You will not defer who you are to a future calendar invite. Now over later. Flip the lens. Outcomes are weather. Identity is the wing. When you choose to be the person whose process is non-negotiable, the scoreboard becomes an echo, not a leash. You don't need a viral moment. You need a verified method. Wake time honored. Deep blocks protected. Promises kept under pressure. Do this, and results have nowhere else to go but toward you. The horizon isn't a prize. It's a consequence. Why not you? Why not now? Hold the image that has followed you since morning. White crown glinting, scanning the long line of light where sky meets land. There's no applause up here, no committee on the ridge. The eagle doesn't flap for approval. It listens for the next thermal and moves with ruthless quiet. That's your standard. Hear the opportunity, most will drown in noise, then slide into it like a blade into its sheath. Distance is leverage. Silence is power. Today you plant a flag that can't be mistaken. One sentence that names your mission in active voice. One metric that proves it daily. One action that starts before the world wakes. You will not bargain with feelings. You will brief your craft. Decide the line, take the drop, write the debrief. The sequence is old by now. Decide, dive, deliver. But here the intent is different. You aren't chasing victory. You're claiming inheritance. You have receipts. You have a rhythm. You have no excuse left but greatness. Understand how horizons work. They flee from spectators and favor travelers. Every step changes the view, and that's the point. You don't wait for the finish to feel real. You make the finish move to meet you. One clean outreach becomes 10. One page becomes a chapter. One set stacked for a year becomes a different body. This is the mathematics of inevitability. Now over later turns, minutes into altitude, and months into a skyline that used to live only in your head. Run your fingers over the handles of today. Focus hours, output shipped, promises kept, and pull them like levers. If one resists, you push on the others until it yields. There's no drama here, only direction. Rejection is information. Fatigue is a signal. Doubt is the last mask fear wears before it leaves. Let them speak, and then let them go. The eagle rises through resistance because it understands what the wind is for. So do you. There will be noise from below, invitations to slow down, to fit in, to soften edges that cut through mediocrity. You can wave from altitude, but you don't descend to negotiate your trajectory. Be the one that flies when others fall. Not because you were handed better weather, but because you learned to ride it. Keep your face in the wind and your word in the world. Quiet is not emptiness. Quiet is aim. Say it out loud with heat and hear how your own voice hardens your spine. Why not you? Say it again until your excuses get embarrassed. Why not now? Repeat it until the calendar stops arguing. Then answer both with work. The specific kind that stacks, the honest kind that hurts a little, the consistent kind that makes tomorrow heavier with proof. Now over later. Choose the life where your actions introduce you before your mouth ever does. So here we are. White crown, clean air, long line of light. Talons lock, not on luck, but on standards. Wings trim, not for spectacle, for precision. Eyes forward, not on applause, on assignment. You don't beg the horizon to accept you. You make it obvious you belong. Step to the edge you built and stop asking. Claim it. Then leave one unmistakable answer etched into the wind you cut and the work you keep. Why not you? Why not now? Why not this life?